Great activity there, look at them. Still feels to get up, look. A lovely garden on the right, look at it. Red hot pokers, yellow and red, the colours of the British cavalry. My old regiment, as a matter of fact. Bush Echium. You spell it E-C-H-R-U-M. Echium, Bush Echium. From the Canary Islands. And Canary Island geraniums on the right, look. Canary Island geraniums. All the pinky flower. This is Mr. Richard Lethbridge's subtropical garden. He owns a lorry firm, the Heavy Transport Company. He's one of the stars of the concert party. Famous lifeboatman, famous singer. His wife produces the concert, Salonian entertainers, every fortnight. And he does all this for the benefit of visitors. He's the only man in the Isles of Scilly who does something for visitors for nothing. And he loves visitors to go in the garden. This is his hobby. I've never seen him up the Mermaid in my life. While his fellow islanders are bending their elbows in the 3 pubs and the 5 cocktail bars, Richard's out here bending his back, doing this for visitors' sake. So he's a very nice gentleman. Giant tree Echium. And he likes visitors to go in the garden and walk around. You're always welcome to go in and walk around the garden as if you own it. He don't like people who dig up things. It's amazing after the terrible winter we had how nice this garden looks. It's much bigger than what it looks from the bus. It's quite a big garden, you see. Bigger than what it looks from here. Some more Canary Island geraniums on the left and giant tree Echium. E-C-H-R-U-M. I spent the winter learning that. Another big crowd down there, look, with one of the modern machines. Look at that. They've got this field up in 2 days, look. Field of potatoes, they got them all up. That's the Banfield brothers down there. Holy Vale in the valley. You're looking right across St Mary's, look. It's 3 miles long, 2 3/4 wide. It seems a big island to you owing to our high speed. Sometimes pedestrians pass us. A nasty corner girls, all tight, grab each other. Never tipped over there yet. The centre of the village, Maypole, full of visitors. We're on the main island motorway ring road. It is not a country lane. We're going around in a circle. There's nowhere else to go. It's the only road apart from bits and pieces. Think of my rich fellow islanders who fork out £6,000 or £7,000 to drive around this road. They're crazy. That would keep them in beer in the Mermaid pub for the rest of their life. Very small fields on the left. More visitors on push bikes. The islanders dumped their bikes in the days of Harold Macmillan when they never had it so good. They all ride motor cars and motorbikes. Here's Mrs. Williams here. Morning. She's dropping off another Mrs. Williams, I think. And she got her sister-in-law with her. Miss Williams. She's waving us on. His other Mrs. Williams is in the back. That's her daughter there. Is that your daughter with you? Yes. I've never met her. Can't stop now. I've never met her. I've heard about her from Vic. She's a bachelor girl who's a chance for me yet. The village of Palistry, lovely beach below the cowshed, Palistry Bay. Mrs. Graham's hotel on the left, look, come into money last year, painted it yellow, put in a swimming pool. She's 200 yards from the beach. Lovely beach, just below the cowshed. Palistry, one of the island's 12 beaches. More potatoes, see, they're late, they're weeks late. Corn Bean Tea Shop on the left. Got a very good name. Run by Phil Deason. He drinks at the Mermaid. The beach is right beneath the tea shop. Some of Gordon Bird's cows, look, lovely animals, look at them. That's the biggest herd of cattle on the island. A lay-by for traffic. Lovely out here. You can come out here morning, noon or night, June, July or August. No one out here, just like this, madam. But this island doesn't suit everyone. It should do, but it's only filled with visitors about 7 or 8 weeks of the year, 2,000. So it's not so popular as what you'd think. And yet there's something here for everyone on this island. Out here you've got the bushes and the solitude for the courting couples. You've got the beaches for the children, 12 of them. You've got the boat trips to the little islands every day for the manned visitors. At night you've got the Vickers film show, the Methodist film show, the Birdman's film show and the Divers film show. Not blue films, films of island life. Then you've got the chambermaids, if you're young enough to chase them. They're at their best after midnight, the chambermaids. Then you've got Lord and Lady Wilson of the Scillys. Harold and Mary to you if you're Labour, sir. He drinks at the Mermaid pub. The head bar girl is a beautiful blonde bachelor girl of about 35. Looks like Marilyn Monroe. So there you are, there's something here for everyone. Yet it don't suit everyone. But Lord and Lady Wilson come here 4 times a year, Easter, August, Whitsun and New Year. But he wasn't here this Whitsun. And I had a lady from Huddersfield yesterday told me that Lord and Lady Wilson were in Huddersfield a week ago. So that's why he hasn't come to St Mary's. But he's normally here at Whitsun. But he wasn't this year. 12 years ago I drove Jimmy Savile around the island. Jimmy rode in Vic's luxury coaches before he ever rode on British Rail. Jimmy Savile, he thought Harold's house was Harold's garage and he wondered where the Prime Minister lived. A gentleman I was speaking to up the Mermaid last August, Gordon Honeycomb, reads the news on TVAM, writes books. He told me he was staying at Tresco. He'd come down on the Friday night to watch the gig racing and to see the nightlife of the Mermaid before he went back to Tresco that night. Gordon Honeycomb, he often comes here. Christine Archer, the Archer radio programme, been coming here for about 17 years. Original Christine Archer, the Archers. I saw Mr Moss here a few weeks ago. He comes here 4 times a year. He hires out men's suits in London, they say. Mr Moss, they also say he's a millionaire. He must be to come here 4 times a year. I'll tell you a lady who come here for years, Dame Flora Robson. She died 2 years ago. 3 years ago, she rode around in the other coach with my son-in-law. Dame Flora Robson. First come here as a teenager. Vic used to dance with her in the town hall when they were teenagers together. There you are. So it's amazing who comes to the Isles of Scilly. Some come year after year, others come once and never come back. Don't suit everyone. Anyhow, we hope now that Richard Branson, the multi-millionaire, will come here quite often. He's very favourably impressed with the Isles of Scilly and some of the good-looking ladies who he met, so I hear. Lovely out here, see, you can stop there all the day. That's all the centre of the island there. You see no road down there, just a nature trail. And there's a Coast Guard station away there, must be 30 miles away. All the fir trees everywhere were planted on the instructions of the Duke of Windsor. He rode around this road May the 21st, 1921. He saw no trees. There weren't any. He had all the fir trees planted. I can remember the date my grandfather shook hands with him. Grandfather was a lifeboatman. When the Duke of Windsor arrived, 1921, first thing he wanted to do was see the lifeboat and meet the crew. They got the old lifeboat out on the slip. They assembled the crew. Duke of Windsor shook hands with them. Very nice of him, isn't it? Grandfather was a lifeboatman for 35 years. He helped to save 164 lives. That's on his RNLI certificate. 164 lives. They'd never do that today, you see, because there aren't the shipwrecks. So there we are. His first lifeboat was a pulling and sailing lifeboat. Imagine going out in a gale of wind with oars and a sail. Just as likely to be drowned them men were as the men they were trying to save. Her Majesty the Queen rode round this road August the 8th, 1967. Her only visit. Her Land Rover was stopped here. That's why we've stopped here. And the view of the royal estate was pointed out to the Queen. She rode around this road. She had to. There wasn't another road for her to go around. As a matter of fact, she was driven around by a retired major of the Indian Army. You're being driven round by a retired sergeant of the British Army. And Edward VII of England rode around this road in 1902. His transport was donkeys. They bred them in the islands. They called them silly asses. They don't breed them here anymore now. All the silly asses come from England on a day trip. On a rough day off Land's End they sing, "See, see, see, why are you angry with me? Ever since we left Penzance, the old Salonian been having a dance on the sea, sea, sea. Put a rope round my neck, chucked me over the deck into the sea, sea, sea." They sing that off Land's End as some of them lose their breakfast and wish the devil they hadn't left Penzance. But they have a good trip going back. It's always a good trip going back. Downhill going back. But the Salonian is a lovely ship. I went over on Tuesday. We had a lovely trip over. So when I tell people it's always a good trip going back, whatever it is coming out, I know that's the truth. Lovely trip going back, but they had it choppy coming out. You see, coming out, you're coming against the Atlantic Ocean. Going back, you're going back with it. So you've nothing to worry about if you're going back on the ship. It's like a river trip going back. I know a bit of poetry. Rocks and sand and barren land, a church without a steeple, houses made of shipwrecked wood, full of happy people. Shall I repeat that, madam? That was written over 100 years ago. Rocks and sand and barren land, a church without a steeple, houses made of shipwrecked wood, full of happy people. My grandmother knew 6 verses. I can only remember the first verse. I've forgotten the others. Richard Dimbleby was here years ago. I drove him many times. Richard Dimbleby was here for a television show and also here for Down Your Way, sound radio. And he had Vic on that. Vic was known as the human foghorn. For 25 years in dense fog, Vic ran to the rocks at Penninnis Head where the lighthouse is and blew his bugle to guide the Salonian I into harbour. He done that for 25 years. Visitors out there see him stood on the rocks blowing his bugle at the fog, thought he was a madman. But he knew what he was doing, and the captain of the Salonian did. When the captain heard Vic's bugle, he knew where he was. In 1951 that all went wrong. Vic was out there blowing his bugle like a madman. The captain of the Salonian never heard him. He got lost in the fog. He ended up by going ashore on the back of St Agnes Island. Panic stations here in the island. Just imagine if you heard if the Salonian was going ashore today. It was flat calm. The ship was there for about 12 hours. The tide went out, she was stuck. The tide come in and she floated off. And all she had was a couple of bent plates. We were very lucky. Put the wind up, the directors of the shipping company, they had an emergency meeting and they give Vic a sack and they put radar on the ship. And Vic never had a penny redundancy. And he done that for 25 years. And when Richard Dimbleby wrote his life story in Titbits, that's a book before you were born, he said the strangest man he ever met was a fellow called Vic Tremeth who lived in the Scilly Isles and in dense fog run down to the uttermost rocks and blew his bugle to guide the mail boat into harbour. And he also said the only man he ever met on the Down Your Way programme who could out-talk him was Vic Tremeth. But Vic's 85 in July, but he acts as if he's 25. For 33 years he drove the airport bus, he owned it. The dearest fare he ever charged to have a crown return. In his younger days he climbed to the roof of the Bishop Rock Lighthouse and he sat on the weather vane. That's when it had a dome top and a weather vane. 167 feet up. So he's a man of iron nerve. I think we'll clear the commuter traffic. We've been nearly an hour. Commuters start at 5 to 12. In the city, that is. Normandy. Full of visitors, 2 holiday houses, look. They've just done their washing. This is where Richard Dimbleby done his daffodil show for television. They raise flowers here from seed, takes 7 years, chickens some eggs, takes 3 weeks. They're full, look at all the visitors in there, look. Crowds of them, watching the traffic on the motorway. Self-catering, staying in the country, you call it, away from all the crowds in Hewtown, the drunks and the mad motorists. The foreigner's name is Mr. Rodney Ward. He's the greatest expert on daffodils in the British Isles. just been awarded an MBE for his services to the daffodil industry. Look at his daughter-in-law's Canary Island geranium, an arum lilies, look. During March, we used to go in here and take visitors in and see the flowers. Mr. Ward loves to talk to visitors about his daffodils. You'd see daffodils in there you wouldn't see anywhere else in the world. He raises flowers from seed, takes 7 years. Chickens from eggs takes 3 weeks. Look at all the stone walls. You may wonder where the stones come from. They dug the stones out of the ground, they made the edges, and they made the fields. Because years ago, 300 men worked in these fields, but you see how hard they worked? Those stones weren't brought here from anywhere. They called it breaking in downs. There you are. Normandy Hotel. They're full. Look, they want 12 pints of milk in the morning. They're full. Normandy. 12 pints fills them. The push bike passing us. All that crowd now are going out to Deep Point. Look at the crowd out there, look. See the cars right on the edge of the cliff. They've had a long drive to get there, look, 2 miles. Deep Point, edge of the island. See, a lot of the island is downs, look. Rocks, gorse, heather, ferns. Solitude if you want it. 11 mile around by the cliff path. That rock up there is Sun Rock on the left, Sun Rock, on the edge of the cliff. See all the red jacks, look. Red jacks everywhere. To the farmers, they're weeds. When they dig up, when they've got their early potatoes dug up, then they'll attack the daffodil fields. Those red jacks, they'll just cut them down. Just weeds to the farmers, they won't bother with them. Come from Africa. Well, they come by seamen years ago in these old sailing ships, brought them home from Africa. A visitor told me they come from the Zambezi River area of Africa. Now, whether that's true, I don't know, because visitors will tell you anything. The shrub on the left is Pittosporum from New Zealand. Pittosporum. It doesn't like frost. The fields are small owing to the winter gales. Some of that yellow marigold there, look, but it's all weeds. But it's pretty. Lovely yellow. On the left is a famous rock, the Camel. Can you see the rock, the Camel? The loaded camel. He's right above the beach. You can lay on the beach and sunbathe. You can look up at the camel and think you're out in Egypt. Most famous rock in Scilly. There he is, the loaded camel. And the bay is Porth Helic Bay. Look at the crowds down there, look. We got John Thomas behind us. The owner of the Normandy Hotel. Better let him pass. He's in hurry, got another trip tomorrow. Lake Windermere on the left. Windermere on the left. There he goes. Never tooted his horn. I wave him on. I won't wave him on again. Yellow water iris. There's the airport over there. Look, it's only a large field, edge of the cliff, top of the hill. There's a well on the left. If you look back again, you'll see the camel back there, look. Loaded camel. Looks lovely from here. See, the best place to see the camel is from Vic's Luxury Coaches. If you're driving round in a private car, all you see is Prince Charles's brambles. The higher up you are, the more you see. Vic would run double-deckers if it weren't for the low railway bridges. St Mary's Waterworks on the right. All the water's wells, springs. The wells are all around us. They're fed by an underground river from Switzerland. Visitors can come here, drink Swiss water, or eat Swiss rolls. They've never had a water shortage yet. They tell visitors are short to put the wind up them, stop them wasting it. While they're building more bedrooms and bathrooms and swimming pools, I'll know there's no water shortage. Even in the drought of 76, no water shortage. There's a well there, look. I recognise you from last year, sir. He looks something like Sean Connery. Look at the view. See the crowds. Nasty corner here. Another rest area for visitors. All the fir trees are burnt owing to the winter gales. It's very rare to get frost, ice or snow. We get wind and rain and big seas. And the winds are cold, you see. The BBC call it the chill factor, whatever that is. I once drove a famous actor. He was called Sir Alec Guinness. I drove him from the pier to the airport. He told me he was staying at Tresco. I once left a famous man behind. I had to pick him up in Vic's taxi. He kept me waiting half an hour. I went home to tea. He was called Godfrey Wynne, famous writer. I've always regretted leaving Godfrey Wynne behind. I drove a famous Yorkshireman many times, apart from Harold and Jimmy Savile. He was called Wilfred Pickles. He come here 3 times to have a go with Mabel on the table. He drank at the Mermaid. Big road junction, no signposts. They want visitors to buy guidebooks or get lost. There's the lighthouse, look, where Vic used to blow his bugle to the mail boat coming into harbour, the Salonian the First, penning his head lighthouse. Where the polythene is, that's spread over narcissi fields. It acts like a glasshouse and it makes some flower in early December. Acts like a glasshouse. Narcissi. So they're sure the Christmas market. We've done 5.5 miles. We got a mile to go. It's been a long journey. More jacks on the right, look. We're seeing all these crowds, you see, owing to the bad weather this morning. In the heat wave, you drive around, you don't see a soul. The Bordeaux pottery is on the left. There's another pottery up in the garrison near Star Castle. That's the Wakefield pottery. So we got 2 potteries and a glassworks. We're industrialised. This is the Bordeaux pottery. Heavy traffic behind us. Look at that ruin, the Prince of Wales dispatch rider. Look at that. Look at that. He tore past a tractor and a trailer. Look at that. Frighten them visitors out their wits. That was a mad dispatch rider. He frightened me. Frighten them too. The highest speed these dispatch riders have done is 120 miles an hour on the main motorway. Yeah, Prince Charles has just sold that ruin. That'll buy Sarah Ferguson a good wedding present. On the left, 6 council luxury flats. Look at the jacks on the right, look. was in the daffodil field, see? On the right is the antique centre. You can go in there and watch them making antiques. They're extending it, look. Antiques. Motorway sign ahead, reduce speed now. I'll have to ease up. The council estate on the left, Prince Charles given the ground, and the airport up above, look. Large field, edge of the cliff, top of the hill, that's all that is. On the right, the Castle Farm Guest House. This is the old town, OLD. The original town. A re-roofing that, look. Somebody said that's going to be an art centre. Like the British Museum, I suppose. We got wonderful people here now with wonderful ideas. Hottentot fig on the right. Hottentot fig, yellow flower, from South Africa. Good morning, sorry to hold you up. Mr. Watt. On the left, Blue Corn Cottage Guest House. Prince Charles is modernising that house, look. On the right, Bay Tree Cottage Guest House. The Queen Mother admired that last July. On the end of the house on the left up there, Prince Charles's feathers, look. He had the town rebuilt in the 1960s. You're looking at the whole of the town, more or less. Don't think there's another 6 streets. The car park on the left, 3 vehicles and it's full. Post office on the right, VR. Victoria, Regina, VR. The original town, the old town. The telephone is on the left, ladies. It's hid away, look, so visitors can't find it. Morning. Some of the old houses. Any day now, a new bird sanctuary is being opened on the left. Rare birds. A bird sanctuary up there by that flag mast. Look at the crowds in the cafe, look. They're looking at us hard. They think we come from Land's End by road. A self-built housing estate. Prince Charles give them the ground. 8 bungalows. They've been 5 years building them. They're nearly finished. Morning. Weather's improving. We'll admire the view for a moment. You girls don't want to go down paddling. Go down and have a paddle if you want to. You can see the pulpit rock like a gun, supposed to represent a church pulpit rock. And there's the old pier, look, like a reef of rocks with the stick sticking up. The original town and harbour, originally built in the 12th century. All the boats are owned by the townspeople. They paint them up nicely, put them down at anchor in April, take them up and put them in their backyards in October. Never go out. It's all done for the benefit of visitors. Lay on the beach, sunbathe, watch the boat swing at anchor. As a lady visitor said yesterday when the tide was in, they put them in the water so neatly, all pointing the same way. She's nearly right with the tide out. If you want to know where France is, it's over the horizon, 92 mile to Ushant in Brittany. 92 mile to France. But this is Old Town Bay, one of the island's 12 beaches, always crowded near the town with the tea shop and on the motorway. And soon we'll have the birds. They'll be out there on behind that big house there, bird sanctuary. And there's also an aquarium being opened next to the laundrette in Hewtown, an aquarium. You know, fish running around, swimming around in water. So that's something else for visitors to see. That's due to be opened any day. It's an amazing place, the ideas in this island. It amazes me, doesn't it you, madam? I wonder what they'll think of next. We started off with potteries, then we had a glassworks, then the butterflies, now we got birds, and now we got fish. It's amazing. The old church over there, look. There's the ship coming in. There she is, look. It's See, they've had a pretty good trip today, look. Coming in lovely. Lovely ship she is, look. 52 on that for us. That'll wear us out. There can't be many people left in Manchester and Leeds. 52 of them are there, look. You can see them on the top deck. Oh, they've had quite a good trip today, quite a good trip. She's a lovely ship. It's the first time I was ever on her on Tuesday, and I was surprised. Lovely ship she is. At least she don't get held up with the fog now like the helicopter. Because now they got radar, see, they don't need Vic. The Nowhere Diving Centre, Nowhere. Nowhere Divers. He drinks in the Mermaid. On the right, the infant school. There's 130 infants in there, look. And many more on the way. The island women are doing their best to make sure the teachers are never made redundant. And they're doing a damn good job. If I put it to you in rather a vulgar manner, ladies, I would say the island women are breeding like rabbits. Steve Hill, lean forward, please. And it worked. Oh, the river won't roll up. And it worked, look at that, can we hit it? You alright? Your back's alright? So you'll be alright tonight, get a nice comfortable seat, get a bearded man on the Mermaid while you do drinks. They're all responding. Crowds, look. There's the other side, men at work. Haven't seen no men. The city limits. If you want to have a walk out to the lighthouse and see the rock scenery at Penninnis, you take the road on the left and then it becomes a farm track. Turn left. Lovely out at Penninnis Head. Visited by Edward VII, 1902, and the Duke of Windsor, 1921. Dame Flora Robson on her last visit stopped there at Belmont. Michael Hicks's guest house, Belmont. He's a famous boatman. Jimmy Savile, he stopped at Tremelin Hotel on the left because he had a good view of Harold Wilson's house with the curtains drawn on the right, look. There's the famous Wilson residence. He's got no chimney, no front door, 2 back doors. It was architect designed, obviously a very good architect. There's the famous residence, garden filled with Tory blue agapanthus. When his lordship's in residence, he puts a flag mast in the socket and he flies the lighthouse flag. Same flag as they fly on the Bishop Lighthouse. Looks lovely with the lighthouse flag fluttering in the breeze. Doubles the value of the bungalow. Didn't much to look at. Jimmy Savile thought it was Harold's garage. There's the Royal Bungalow over there, look, with the red roof on the hill. See the Royal Bungalow? White dormer window in the roof, look, right across there. Red roof. A lot of royalty stopped there. Princess Diana was there with Prince Charles 3 years ago. She met and shook hands with the top 300 island gentry in the Civic Centre where we started. You'll be sorry to know I weren't included. The vicarage on the right. There's the parish church, built 1837. The lead tanks outside the door were once the property of the Duke of Windsor. He had them at his residence, Fort Belvedere in Berkshire. They're antiques. The parish church is well worth a visit. Old 300. Hotel Godolphin. There's Angela, give her plenty of room. Look at all the motor cars, look. Some of them have driven hundreds of yards to get here. Methodist Church on the right. Film show tomorrow night. This is Church Street, of course. The Bell Rock Hotel on the left. Good looking receptionists there, just dropped their prices. Place is jammed with motor cars and nowhere to go. Anyhow, we meet the commuters. Museum. Empty and heat wave. Church Hall. The divers gave a film show last night. There isn't much happening tonight, you see. Hyde Park. The Old People's Home on the left. Yeah, they're waving. Civic Centre. We're back. We never broke down. We done 6.5 miles and we've been an hour and 20 minutes. The 3 pubs, the 7 cafes are now open. If you're feeling like a feed of fish, I can recommend the fish restaurant there in Piccadilly Circus. Lord Wilson goes there and has a feed of fish. Lovely fish, you see. One brother catches it and the other brother cooks it. If you want a ploughman's lunch or anything like that, and look at a good looking blonde bar girl, go to the Mermaid. So there we are. I should get out and get in a cafe or a pub before that crowd comes off the Salonian. Because if they've lost their breakfast, they'll be feeling hungry. If you want any rare plants, Mr. Miller, the landscape gardener, he's a rich bachelor, girls. He'll fix you up. Good morning. He's the one to see for any rare plants or flowers, anything like that. He'll fix you up. He's a rich man. He don't need no payment. The fare is £1 each, unfortunately. Babies on laps are free. Thank you very much. Thank
Very
you.
nice, thank you. Lovely.
Thank you, madam. You'll be an asset. You'll be an asset up the Mermaid tonight.
Lovely. Looking forward to that.
They'll be delighted to see you, the men. 4 to 1, the men, you see.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
On your heads.
Bye-bye.
Jimmy Savile hit his head when he got out.
Oh, well.
Thank you, madam. That's what you call a leisurely tour. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mind your head, sir. When they built the coach, we were short. Thank you very much, sir. You know where all the 350 motorists go now.
Thank you.
Somebody dropped.
Yeah, was it
That was
our
just
folks in the probably
Yes,
ones that were
okay.
guest house, I expect.
Right.
They were sitting in front of us, weren't they?
Right-o.
They were sitting in
Two,
front of
sir.
us.
Yeah, the weather's improving.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheerio, madam. Cheerio.
Cheerio, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Got mine at the back.
Right-o.
I hope.
That's all right.
You'll have all this wine in
All the
next time,
visitors
won't
are
you?
honest. All the visitors are honest.
You'll have all this wine in, it'll save you speaking, won't it?
No, no. No, thank you.
Thank you.
You have to look at the people, you see. It's only the talk, it's the expression on my face.
Thank you very much, very enjoyable.
Glad you enjoyed it, sir. Some of them didn't. I should only give them an hour's afternoon. I've been too long for them, I think. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
See you again.
Well, we hope so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mind your head, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If I don't say that, somebody hits the red.
Sit down with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
All the
sir.
best.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I'd like to see you in person because I've seen you.
You did, yeah? Well, there you are. The producer's here now. He's going to have a drink up the Mermaid. Chris Wright.
Yeah.
He was a producer. I met him. He come yesterday.
What's it producing?
He produced Pebble Mill at 1.
Oh.
Thank you, madam. The BBC television. You didn't see that?